We're back 15 minutes past the hour of the Rick and Bubba Show. Joining us by satellite is Pete Van Wieren, is supposed to be with us. This is that thing, this thing we do on Turner sometimes where Pete will be like kicked back on the phone, but yet we'll see him at the same time, too.
I know, isn't that cool? Hey, Pete, what's up?
Hey, Bubba, how you doing?
Hey, Pete!
It's just strange for us to see him there on TV.
Well, you know what we have to do now? Pete Van Wieren, welcome to the show. We speak in Braves chants a lot on the show, Pete. That's something we've been doing for years. Anytime you leave a game, you know, you got...
It does kind of stick with you, doesn't it?
It's in your head, so we'll say anything like that. Where y'all want to stop? I'm kind of hungry. You know, that kind of stuff.
Well, Pete, thanks for joining us and getting up and coming in. I mean, you keep a lot of late hours usually, don't you?
Well, we had a long one yesterday, 4.5-hour game, but it was a day game, so that was a little bit of a break. But no, we get through most nights 10:30, 11ish, and by the time you get home, it's midnight, 1 o'clock. But we get used to that schedule.
Well, and you know, I guess spending that much time with Skip. I mean, do you? I mean, when you guys are doing the game together, I mean, you know, because let's face it, Skip. You know, you of course I know have a great sense of humor, but you do focus on the game. Skip is always kind of, you never know what he may say or do.
Never know where he's headed. It's been 28 years that I've worked with Skip, and we've strayed off into some very strange directions at times. But eventually it gets back to baseball at some point.
Pete, is it hard for you to keep up with, you know, whether you're on radio, TV, networks? I mean, you've worked them all. Do you ever get confused?
You know, when we first started back in the 70s, it was a little tricky at times because it was something that none of us were really used to, switching back and forth between the two. But after all this time, no, you get a pretty good feel for where you are every day. It's not difficult.
Well, I'm assuming this, so correct me if I'm wrong. You started out in radio, then the TV, kind of like with us, kind of came on board.
Well, you always, in baseball, I think everybody that was not a former player, and
right.
I was not a former player, starts out doing minor league baseball on the radio. That's where you learn your trade. I worked in places like Binghamton, New York, and Toledo, Ohio, and Norfolk, Virginia, and places like that, and rode those buses for about 10 years before I came to Atlanta. So I never had done any television at all until I came to Atlanta in 1976, so it was all radio before then.
But I would assume being a sports announcer, a play-by-play guy, color, whatever you do, or a little of both, I'm sure you've done, is it like a player, though, in the fact that you're in the minors and you think one day I'm gonna get asked to come to the show? Is it the same thing?
Well, that's what you hope. You know, that's the goal when you start out. You don't know if it's gonna happen or not. But you know, there are probably 150 minor league teams and there are only 30 major league teams. So the jobs are a little different at the major league level. But it's a goal that you shoot for back then. You're just like the players back then. You're 25 years old. You're riding those buses. You're hoping that you're going to be promoted to the next level. I worked Double-A ball for 6 years, Triple-A for 4 years. So just like a player might be in the minor leagues for 10 years, hoping to get there someday. It's the same kind of life, and you kind of have that same dream that those players have.
Well, it's got to be more fun though. The last 10, 12 years with the Braves dominating than.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yes.
When we had our when Skip and I had our 25th anniversary with the ball club, people say, "Does it seem like it's been 25 years?" And we said, "Well, the first 10 seemed like 25 years.
Oh, boy.
The last 10 have seemed like they've flown by in about 2."
You know, yeah, we
remember that very well.
Well, so do we.
Yeah, I bet. You know, all of us remember, you know, traumatizing things in our life. I remember we got to talk to you about it when we came over and did the inning with you guys.
Yeah, when you
which
came over
was a
last year.
blast, by the way.
That was a lot of fun. And we were talking about, you know, we started out, one of my first jobs in radio was running the Braves.
Running the board, yeah.
Yeah, running the board at 1390 a.m. in Anniston, Alabama. And buddy, I'm gonna tell you, those years.
Wasn't it fun being 30 games out though in July?
and I've told this before. You know, you'd always get your. You know, we had the network breaks and we had the local breaks.
Right.
And you'd have your sheet in front of you, so you would plan. All right, I've got 2 innings of network breaks, so I'm going to the bathroom.
Right. I'm good here. For
I'm good. So I would get up, and sometimes they would be such long pauses because, let's face it, you would run.
Nothing to talk about.
You'd run out of everything, and you'd panic. Go, I've missed a break. Then I hear you go, ball inside.
I'll tell you what, you don't ever want to go back to those days.
Never.
Because after experiencing what we've experienced now for the last 10 or 12 years, it's so much fun now. Going to spring training, knowing that you're going to have a chance to to realistically be in postseason, and that's been the way this club has been now since 1991, and that is really fun.
And how about they're on fire right now?
Yeah,
wow.
Slow start. This happens before everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, the Braves start out slow. Of course, they're in their groove again. You know, one of the things that we talked about it on the show. With us being on in Atlanta on Turner South, and of course covering other areas, because you know we went to Braves games, and I lived in Oxford, Alabama, which is about an hour and a half from the stadium. So we went to Braves games growing up. You know, does it bother you a little bit when you see what we all remember, and you hope the fans remember, for them to be lackadaisical about getting to the ballpark and not appreciating what I understand the thing of, okay, we know we're going to be good now, but to me, being good should not hurt your attendance. It ought to help it.
Well, I think a couple things that happen every year, and then happened again this year. We got off to a slow start. We only won 4 and lost 8 the first 12 games of the year, and there were a lot of question marks about how this team was going to be. And this seems to happen every year. We make 8, 9, 10 changes a year on this ball club, and it takes a little while for it to gel. Well, it began to gel a lot earlier this year, and I think that this club eventually, as the season goes on, will draw even better than the clubs in the past, because there's a whole different dynamic to this team. In the past 10, 11, 12 years, this club has always been based on the starting pitching. And most of the time, if you came to a game at Turner Field, it would be 3-1, 4-2, maybe 2-0, a low-scoring game featuring good pitching. This club this year, the strong point of this team is the offense. This club has got the highest batting average in the National League right now. It's scoring more runs per game than any team in the National League. So if you come to a game this year, chances are you're going to see a game like you saw yesterday. It might start out like a 3-0 game, then all of a sudden it was 3-3 in the 8th, and then a grand slam home run in the top of the 11th, and then the Braves came back and almost tied it up in the bottom half of the 11th. That's the way this club is playing this year, and it's a very exciting team to watch play, and I think the fans will catch on to that and turn out in big numbers before the season's done.
Well, Pete, surely somewhere working with Turner South that we'll get invited to come back and sit in an inning again, because we sure
would
did
love to have
enjoy
you.
that, Pete.
We would love to have you.
Not to put you on the spot or anything.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, Pete,
you want to come to Atlanta, or you want to come to a road game?
it doesn't matter. You know,
I mean, we've been to Turner Field a number of times. Maybe you'd like to, I don't know, take us out to maybe
I was
West.
going to say, maybe we can fix it up, get you up to Wrigley or something like that.
Yeah. Now, Pete, please.
Although, wait a minute, that booth there is too small.
Yeah,
we could barely fit Skip and I in that booth. We certainly couldn't fit the two of you guys in there, too.
You know, Pete, it's always been a dream of mine. Would you mind just one time acting like I'm a big right-hander coming out of the bullpen, and say, well, right here they're going to go to that young the young newcomer Rick Burgess, the big right-hander with a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, and give me one pitch. So here's the delivery. Oh, that's right. That's right. Could you do that one time?
Who do you want to be coming in for?
I'll be replacing Maddox, of course, because he's struggling right now. But.
All right.
I'll be coming in to replace Maddox. I'm coming out of the bullpen, and y'all are very hopeful about how good I'm going to be.
And you're going to have what music is going to be playing over the loudspeaker as you trot in from the bullpen?
We'll probably. How about? Really, I think I would like to come out to a Tone Loc Funky Cold Medina. and that is kind of my nickname. They said now the crowd's starting to call him Funky Cold Medina.
All right. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Here we go. Everybody quiet.
Okay, here we go. There's the call to the bullpen by Bobby Cox, and let's see when the gate opens who it'll be. It's going to be Rick Burgess, and listen to this crowd reacting. There we go. Rick coming in with that 100-mile-an-hour fastball of his. He's going to be facing Barry Bonds, so the challenge is going to be a big one with the bases loaded and the Braves up by 3 here, trying to preserve this lead for Greg Maddux. But Burgess says he's ready, and Bonds steps in.
Oh, no!
There's the sign, the stretch by Burgess, and the first pitch to Barry. There's a drive hit deep to right center field. 4-3 San Francisco.
Up to that point, it was exactly what I'd always dreamed. You know,
Pete, that was great.
Pete brought me back to reality. For a minute, I was believing it right there.
And how about in my mind,
Pete.
I'm thinking, wow, it sounds so real because it's Pete. I mean, you know,
but we really have enjoyed you for so many years, and thanks for taking time to be with us again today.
Hey, enjoyed it, guys. Anytime.
Watching the games, check the schedule for the games that will actually be on Turner South with Pete and Skip, and of course they continue to do the radio as well, and we look forward to hooking up with you guys for a game before the year's over.
Okay, guys, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Pete.
Thank you, Pete. Thanks for being with us.
And go Braves. Pete Van Wieren,
hey, a legend.
the legend, with us this morning. We'll be back 25 minutes past the hour. 877-WE-BE-BIG's our toll-free number, and we'll be right back.
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
Call to the bullpen by Bobby Cox, and let's see when the gate opens who it'll be. It's going to be Rick Burgess, and listen to this crowd reacting. There we go. Rick coming in with that 100-mile-an-hour fastball of his. He's going to be facing Barry Bonds, so the challenge is going to be a big one with the bases loaded and the Braves up by 3 here, trying to preserve this lead for Greg Maddux. But Burgess says he's ready, and Bonds steps in.
Oh, no!
There's the sign, the stretch by Burgess, and the first pitch to Barry. There's a drive hit deep to right center field. 4-3 San Francisco.
Thank you, Pete Van Wieren.
What a great call, though.
Yeah, that was. How about that?
How legendary is that?
You remember I had Keith Jackson do the same thing. When
Oh,
he was
I know.
But so.
Rick and Bubba's in Ohio.
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
Pass the gravy, please.
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
Ooh, it brings me to my knees.
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
I can't start another
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
day without 'em, brother.
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
Ooh, there is no other
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
waking on their blubber.
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
Gonna be a big star.
Bubba, Rick and Bubba.
Fat will get you